I said, yo, Richard, Bill Cosby just called me up and told me I was too dirty. And Richard said, the next time I call, tell him I said, suck my.
Eddie Murphy was one of the biggest names in comedy, but some of his jokes went way beyond just pushing boundaries. Even back then, he didn't hold back.
Remember in the old days when you could beat up a woman? Remember that back in the 20s, guys just smack their wives in the movies, and they'll just go, oh. You can't do like that no more. Women be taking aerobics, they're up now.
Jokes about hitting women were part of his act, and the audience laughed. But that wasn't the only time Eddie went all in.
All right, racism. I ain't hooked up into all that racism. My motto is life is just be happy with. I ain't into all that racism. Racism ain't as bad as it used to be anyway, man. I mean, it's but they don't call no more and shit. White people don't say it, especially when it's around, so I guess I wouldn't know and shit.
His takes on race had the crowd roaring, but some of his material didn't sit well with everyone.
Your wife's a Bigfoot, isn't she, Gus? Your wife is a Bigfoot, isn't she? That's why the stash is so thick. But you shaved down and taught her to speak.
Here are several Eddie Murphy jokes that were too controversial for TV. Back in the 1980s, Eddie Murphy was untouchable. He had blockbuster movies, sold-out comedy specials, and a fan base that adored him. But behind the laughs, some of his jokes were downright offensive, especially towards the LGBTQ+ community.
Get some rules. I got some rules when I throw down. When I do my stand-up, I got rules.
This wasn't just locker room humor. Eddie was playing into harmful stereotypes about gay men, making them out to be predatory. And he didn't stop there. He doubled down on the fear-mongering. At the time, comedy had fewer boundaries. But even back then, people were calling Eddie out. LGBTQ+ activists saw this as dangerous rhetoric that encouraged discrimination. And it wasn't just one or two jokes. He kept going. Eddie was one of the biggest comedians in the world, so when he made fun of gay people, it had real consequences. His jokes validated homophobia at a time when being gay was already dangerous. But his most controversial jokes weren't just about sexuality. His HIV/AIDS material took things to a whole new level.
Now they got AIDS, that just kills me. I say, what's next? I guess you just put your in and explode.
In the 80s, the AIDS crisis was devastating communities, especially the LGBTQ+ community. Misinformation was everywhere, and people with HIV were being stigmatized, shunned, and even denied medical treatment. But instead of showing any sympathy, Eddie turned it into a joke. The problem wasn't just that he joked about AIDS, it was how he framed it. He downplayed the seriousness of the disease, making it sound like an inconvenience rather than a global health crisis. And then he took it even further.
And now they got AIDS, that just kills me. I say, what's next? I guess you just put your in and explode. And the girl be on the bed going, maybe I should see a doctor about it.
For millions of people suffering from AIDS, this wasn't comedy, it was a slap in the face. LGBTQ+ organizations called him out for spreading fear and misinformation. Some even boycotted his shows, and the backlash kept growing.
With their husband, then like 5 years later, Mr. Johnson, you have AIDS. He goes, AIDS?
Murphy's jokes about AIDS had people laughing back then, but cringing today. But that wasn't the only time he went too far. Because when Eddie shifted from controversial social topics to roasting entire families, he took things to a whole new level.
Then my Aunt Bunny would fall down the steps almost every year.
It starts off harmless, classic family exaggeration, making fun of clumsy relatives. But then Eddie takes it up a notch, turning his jokes into straight-up roasting.
Gus, what the is wrong with your wife? What?
Now, this is where things get dicey. Eddie wasn't just cracking jokes, he was going all in, calling people out in a way that would never fly today. And just when you think it can't get any crazier, here comes the Bigfoot punchline.
Your wife's a Bigfoot, isn't she, Gus? Your wife is a Bigfoot, isn't she? That's why the stash is so thick. But you shaved down and taught her to speak. I know a Bigfoot when I see one. Don't bring a Bigfoot in my home, Gus.
This wasn't just about roasting family members. It was pushing that otherness stereotype, where certain features were exaggerated into something non-human. And while this might have been hilarious to audiences back then, today, people would call it body shaming, cultural insensitivity, and just straight-up bullying.
You know when I found out today was Bigfoot? When I realized your wife was a Bigfoot when I took your kids fishing last week.
Murphy's family jokes were already wild, but his stories about his mother's discipline. They had audiences howling, while others saw a problem.
Anybody got them mothers that would hit you with a shoe? I had a mother that would throw a shoe at you at the drop of a dime and you up wherever she was aiming.
This was instantly relatable for a lot of people, especially those raised in strict households. But some critics weren't laughing. Most argued Murphy was normalizing parental violence, turning something painful into a joke.
She would like carry that shit like a gun. By the time I was like 10, my mother was like Clint Eastwood with a shoe.
For many in the audience, this was spot on. Black parents did not play when it came to discipline. But as conversations around child abuse and trauma evolved, some felt these jokes were aged badly.
You be in a supermarket and be grabbing cereal off the counter going, "Ma, can we get this?" She'll say, "I guess not." And can be doing 3 different things. Be on the phone with my grandmother and be cooking with this hand, have the phone like this and be saying, "Yeah, mama, hold on a second." Bad. You up, and God forbid my mother be dressed up and have them high-heel Jimsons on, them pumps, because then she get boomerang action going on your ass.
Murphy's comedy wasn't just funny, it was a reflection of real-life experiences. In Black communities, strict discipline was often seen as necessary for survival. But with time, people began questioning, where's the line between discipline and abuse?
I did all the disciplining around the house and my mom up. Very, very strict house I came from. And I remember when I first went to, my first like contact with a white family freaked me out and shit. I went to Fresh Air Fund. Never go to that? Where they take a kid like from the city and send him to the country and the mind up and And I went there and I found out some white kids can curse around the house. That me up. When I was little, I couldn't believe that. I couldn't even say dag around my house. My father said, "It sounds too much like damn." I get in trouble for saying the wrong way around my house. And I was in the house with Tom Kildare. Was a Tommy, your little lady, said, "Come on, Mom, move it as fast as I can. Come on!" And I was standing there like this.
Murphy used this moment to compare cultures. Black households versus white households, where kids could talk back without consequence. But even that got people talking. Was he just pointing out differences, or was he reinforcing stereotypes?
If I tried to pull some in my house, Ed, you're a little late. Hey, come on, Pop. What is this? Come on, there. My pops just go. That's crazy. My pops didn't play, man. He didn't play when it came to kids. He with my mother, though, because my mother him up.
Murphy's comedy didn't just push boundaries on parenting. He also dove into gender roles. But some of those jokes have aged even worse.
Remember in the old days when you could beat up a woman? Remember that back in the 20s, guys just smack their wives in the movies, and they'll just go, "Oh." You can't do like that no more.
Yeah, you heard that right. A joke about casually hitting women, and back then, audiences laughed it off. But today, this joke hits different.
Women be taking aerobics, they're up now. It's scary too, man. Especially a black woman. You hit a black woman, she lose her mind.
Eddie was known for playing on stereotypes, but this bit in particular has aged poorly. Joking about domestic violence, especially toward black women, has sparked heated conversations in recent years.
Seriously, they go crazy on you. Can have a real timid sister for a girl and smack it, be like, "I'm gonna kill you. You don't hit me, goddamn. You don't hit me. No, motherfucker, you don't hit me. You don't put your hands in my face. My father don't put his hand in my face."
At the time, Murphy was pushing boundaries. But looking back, some of these jokes don't sit right with people anymore. Is this just dark humor or a deeper issue?
You don't hit me, just get the throw you out your own house. You be so scared you get the too. That's the you know you scared when a woman say get the out your own house and you leave. You're scared.
People roared with laughter in the 80s, but now, These clips have resurfaced, and the internet isn't as forgiving.
I had a girlfriend once, I smacked her and got all cool on it. And then she got cool and it scared me more and shit. I just left.
Eddie's comedy didn't hold back. He tackled race, stereotypes, and even slavery. But not everyone was laughing when these clips resurfaced.
All right, racism. I ain't hooked up in all that racism shit. My motto is life is just be happy with. I ain't into all that racism shit. Racism ain't as bad as it used to be anyway, man. I mean, it's up, but they don't call no more and shit. White people don't say it, especially when around.
Murphy joked that racism had cooled down, but that didn't mean the bit sat well with everyone, especially when he took it even further.
I went to Texas, though, looking for racism. About 2 months ago, I had a showdown in Texas, got off the plane, walked up looking for racism.
Eddie flipped the script on racial stereotypes, mocking both white ignorance and black bravado.
My friends always told me, you better not go to Texas. That up. And when my Martin Day brother here, that like this, what? They ain't nobody else.
And then he went all in, joking about slavery in a way that has sparked backlash in today's world.
Brothers act like they couldn't have been slaves back 200 years ago. It ain't like like that. I wish I was a slave. I would my dog. Shit, tell me the bad cotton. I would have been on the street and you would have came up and said, hey, yo, the bale is cotton. Oh, said, suck my master. Suck my. That's right, I ain't bailing the.
This was peak 1980s comedy, but now people aren't laughing the same way.
It wasn't like that. The first dude that got off the boat said that bail that cotton. The other mother will bail it. Keep that shit over. Just keep that away from me.
The shock factor made it a hit back then, but now these clips are being dissected, with some calling it outdated, offensive, or just plain wrong.
I got off the plane, walked off, got up, walked up my bag, all my black on, black leather, big ass dying on like this. Little white dude walked up and said, "This your bag?" I said, "Yeah, it's my Why a black man can't have a suitcase?"
Eddie Murphy didn't just stop at race and slavery jokes. His 1987 special Raw took things even further, with him clowning how white people dance compared to black people.
I went to a white disco recently and I watched the white people dance. Y'all can't dance. No, it's not. I'm not being racist. I mean, it's just like saying black people have thick lips. It's not racist. It's true. We have thicker lips, and white people can't dance.
Eddie Murphy's race jokes were already pushing boundaries, but his take on relationships took things even further. He openly criticized American women for their financial expectations, leading to one of his most controversial routines.
You got to be careful. You got to have a J.O.B. in the 80s. You got to have some money. You got to have some money. You can't get no to the radio. That's what it's about. Listen to Madonna. I'm a material girl in a material world. You ain't got no money. You can't have no. Basically what it is, there's a song out now called Got to Have a J.O.B. if you want to be with me. And the lyrics go, ain't nothing going on but the rent. Like if you went up and said, hey babe, what's going on? The rent. Do you have a job? Well, I to get the out my face. Got to have some money. It says no romance without finance. And women love them songs.
He then took aim at Janet Jackson's hit, What Have You Done For Me Lately?, mocking how modern relationships had become entirely transactional.
Janet Jackson got a hit record. What have you done for me lately? That's what they be thinking. What have you done for me lately? The record start off like that. I know he used to for you, but what has he done for you lately? Baby, I love you. What have you done for me lately? You the only thing on my mind. What have you done for me lately? We make good love. What have you done for me lately? Got to have some money to get in the 80s.
The routine escalated when Murphy joked about going to Africa to find a wife who wouldn't care about money. The bit relied on racial stereotypes that would later be heavily criticized.
That's why I say, hey, I'm a target. If I ever get married, I have to go off to the woods of Africa and find me some crazy, naked zebra that knows nothing about money. She got to be butt naked on a zebra with a big bone in her nose and a big plate lip, and a big afro. An afro got to, like Angela Davis see it and go, and that's, afro got to be, and one of them pics with a fist in the back, and she got to be butt naked, because if she got some clothes she gonna pocket, she gonna have to put something in the pocket. So she got to be butt naked on the zebra, and y'all think it's a joke. Y'all gonna go, I'm gonna walk up to her and say, hey, how you doing? Money? And she go, I say, Miss Murphy. And I'm bring her home. Y'all think it's a joke. Y'all gonna go past a newsstand one day and see me on the cover of Jet with some woman with a big bone and a plate and a big afro, butt naked, and you're gonna say, hey, Eddie must be visiting Africa. You'll say, Murphy marries Bush bitch.
The routine was wildly popular at the time, but its portrayal of African women and culture hasn't held up. The exaggerated stereotypes and colonial imagery have been widely criticized in recent years. Murphy's comedy was a product of its time, bold, unfiltered, and boundary-pushing. But as society evolved, many of his most famous routines faced growing backlash. What was once seen as fearless humor is now scrutinized under a different lens. Anyway, that's it for the video, folks. Bye!